All right. Hello, hello. Hi, Linda. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Beth?
I'm doing well, thanks. So I'm
Good.
super excited to feature you as our Entrepreneur of the Month for the Black Business Connector. So thanks for your
You.
time.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. So I'm just going to introduce you to everyone who will be listening, and then once this is posted, and then we'll chat some and you can give us some more details about business
Oh,
and what you do. So,
okay.
yes. So, Linda Williams is the owner of Etiquette and Writing Consultancy. She provides editing and publishing support to authors through her proven coaching methods, coupled with spiritual guidance. And as I see from your banner behind you, also unwavering integrity, which I love. We need
Yes.
that. So Linda is a 3-time author, and you're getting ready to launch your 4th book. So that's exciting, and we'll chat some more about
Uh,
that. Linda's also a speaker, a certified writing coach, and she does also offer, in addition to everything else, business etiquette training. So can you tell the world a little bit more about yourself and whatever else you'd like to share? Yeah.
right. So, just to add a little bit to what you said, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate this. This is nice. Um, I am started out as a certified etiquette consultant over 20 years ago, teaching, doing workshops for high school students, elementary school students, and college students. And then I kind of expanded it to doing church etiquette workshops. And I did that for a while. In the interim, I published 2 books on etiquette, one on church etiquette and one on church etiquette for ushers or doorkeepers. And I was busy doing that, and people kept asking me, how did I publish a book? How did I get started? How did I get it published? And so I started doing some workshops on, just small workshops on helping people to be able to publish their book.
Hmm.
And then the pandemic hit. All my workshops shut down. That was all gone. And I was like, okay, what am I doing now? And I spent the pandemic time building a online writing workshop,
Mm-hmm.
which I started. And then once the pandemic was over, I realized that I wanted to get a certification as a book coach. By that time, I had helped 3 people actually write and publish their books, and I wasn't even certified. So I obtained the certification to become a certified book coach. And so now I'm doing that, and I helped another person to publish a book. So it's been 5 people now in the last 5 years that I've helped to publish their books. And in the meantime, I wrote another book back in 2020 called Excuse You, The
Yeah.
Benefits of Living Courteously, which I love. And now I am about to publish my 4th book, which is a devotional for entrepreneurs, called Success on Your Knees, a 7-month devotional for entrepreneurs.
Ooh.
So that's where I am.
Wow.
Started out as etiquette, and I still do the workshops. I don't do as many, and most of them are on Zoom these days. I'm retired now from my regular job, so this is like my business that I do, in addition to a part-time job that I have working for a call center, helping people. So yeah, that's kind of where my life is right now.
Wow. Okay. Yes. So when we your life has a lot of
It
different
does.
moving parts. Yes. So when we first met, which was maybe 2018-ish, I think,
Yes, I
somewhere
believe
around in there.
so.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were definitely more in the etiquette field. So it's been fun watching you transition and everything. And I remember the last previous book you'd published when you were excited about that on the manners. But I'm curious, the success on your knees. And then you said in 7 months. So it's a 7-month devotional. What made you choose 7 months and not like just like 1 month or 3 months or a whole year? Why 7?
Well, so I have to very briefly tell you how this came about. I was asked to be the business ministry leader at my church for members and other people who either wanted to start a business or they'd started a business but needed a little bit of spiritual guidance, because I believe that when you are a entrepreneur and you're also a Christian, or you could be Jewish or whatever your religion is, if you are an entrepreneur, it's not just about making money. It's about helping people, because that's what we do as people of faith. So I started doing these workshops, and we met every month. And then again, the pandemic hit. And just before that, I guess like maybe 6 months before that, they had asked me if I could send them a scripture every day, just as encouragement. And I was like, okay, that's great. So I started sending them these scriptures every morning. That went on for a good 6 months. And then the churches shut down, all of the ministry stopped, and I stopped doing it. And as I was doing this online course, and I'm thinking, okay, am I going to write another book, or is it just going to be the course or whatever? And I was actually honestly praying about it. And I believed that I heard that this was my next book because it was already written. I had already done the devotions to these people. Now, there had to be a lot of editing because it was more personalized towards the business ministry. So I had to make it a little more generic. And then I was like, okay, how long am I going to do this for? I had like 6 months worth of devotions, but I heard 7, which is the number of completion in the faith. So that's how the 7-month devotional came about.
Yes, I was wondering if there was something along with the symbolism of number 7.
Yes, definitely.
I love it. I was going to ask you where you draw your inspiration from as an author and coach. I'm not sure if we've really hit on it, or if there's other things that, have motivated you or inspired you along your way.
Well, the first book that I did, which was a book on church etiquette, actually came from my pastor at the time. He was preaching a sermon one Sunday, and this was 2017. Okay. Get this. And he was talking about how rude people are in church. He has since passed away, but if he saw what was going on now, that was nothing compared to some of the behavior that you see these days. But he was preaching this sermon, and he was talking about how rude people were in church and disrespectful. And he looks at me and he says, you should write a book on church etiquette. And I had no clue of doing that. No intention of doing that. Yeah. But as people of faith, we know that seeds get planted. Mm-hmm. And if we are going to follow our purpose, we're going to follow that seed that's planted. And so I started working on this book, and it took me a little over a year, and that's how it came about. And then, as I said, my pastor passed away. We looked for a different church, started at a different church. I was meeting with my new pastor, and we were talking about the doorkeepers and the ushers and their behavior, and how they need to be trained and all of that. And he goes, this is your next book. And I'm like, oh no. So I started working on that one. And then the one for excuse you, the benefits of living courteously, really just came about because I just noticed how rude people had become. And to me, the reason for the name of the book is people in the world today seem to need to know how something's going to benefit them. It's more about learning how it's going to benefit them more than am I going to learn something? What's going to be the benefit to me? And so that's how that book came about, because I wrote it with the notion that what are people going to benefit from as a result of being courteous? How's it going to help them? And so, my inspiration came from a lot of different places. I didn't start out as a writer, but as I looked back, especially when I was writing this book, I realized that I've always liked to write since I was in college. The courses that I did best with were the ones where I had to write midterm and final papers rather than take a test.
Yeah, I
And
always
so
better too.
I think your inspiration for writing has to come from, number one, you have to like writing, at least to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Maybe not be into it as much as I am, but you have to have a desire to write. Number two, you have to write what you know. I can't write a book on science because I don't really know that much about it. I could do a lot of research, but it really wouldn't interest me and I wouldn't have that passion for it.
Yeah.
So you have to write what you know, and you have to write what you enjoy. That's where I think your inspiration comes from. So if somebody says, oh, I really like to write a book, think about your life experiences, think about what you know, think about what you like to share with other people, what you're good at, those kinds of things, and pull from those.
Even things that people ask you about. Well, clearly,
Yes.
because something was maybe written on your forehead that made your pastor say, hey, write a book on it. Because that was your first book was your first book, right? In like 2017?
Yes. Yes. That was the book on church etiquette. And I mean, I was really passionate about the etiquette piece, but I never even imagined writing a book about it until he said that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like you were praying for opportunities to write or anything. It just is an idea that was shared.
Exactly. And that brings up another thing. When someone shares an idea with you for something they see that it might be good for you to do, don't just brush it off. Think about it. Because a lot of times people see, especially people that you're close to or people whom you trust, they see things in you that you don't see in yourself. So
that is true. Sometimes, I mean, we know ourselves, but sometimes other people see aspects of ourselves or possibilities or potential that like we might not see because we're kind of like stuck or focused on something else. Like, oh, I'm so passionate about etiquette. I'm not seeing the connection that I could do a book on it to help people.
Right, exactly. And also this same pastor, the first one that encouraged me to write the book on church etiquette, he started asking me to do the announcements at our church. Now, I'm not really an outgoing person unless we're talking about certain subjects like this. I'm a very quiet person, kind of reserved. And it was because he had me to start doing the announcements that gave me my confidence to start doing public speaking.
Oh, cool.
Because that's another thing. But when I went for the certification to become an etiquette consultant, it didn't really hit me that I would have to be standing in front of groups of people teaching until I was halfway through the training. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I had that foundation that he had given me from doing the announcements that helped me to gain that confidence.
Yeah.
So.
I guess that's why he was a pastor. He was in a leadership position, and that's where like one of the things you do is well, this is for pastors, for coaches, for teachers, for mentors, right?
Yes.
But to kind of
Yeah.
like guide people and see, oh, hey, this is something I think you could do, and then get the person to go out and do it, even though they might be like, announcements, what? It's so funny
Yeah.
how when you do one thing, it can lead to something completely different that you would never imagine.
Yes. It's so true. And it prepares you for the next thing that you're going to do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It is definitely a business tip, because you might start your business and you think it's going to look one way, but it ends up looking a totally different way.
It's true.
Just kind of
And
enjoy.
always be willing to branch out.
Mhm.
Because as you just said, you start out thinking that your business is going to be one way and it may expand, but you have to be open to that. You can't be so closed-minded that you say, this is what I wanted to do for my business. This is the product or service that I wanted to provide. And I see this over here, but that's not really what I want to do. Well, maybe that thing that's over here is going to help you to branch out to do the thing that you really thought that you were supposed to focus on. So you
Yeah.
have to be, you do.
It's like training, but you don't even know
Yes,
you're going through it.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which
Yeah.
is humbling. So take the small things, the
Right.
small things, even if they're humbling, because
Exactly.
training. So now you do work with authors, and then I'm curious, just for people who would be listening to this and interested in writing their own book, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people have books inside of them. How
Right.
how can they know that their idea is like a quote unquote good idea? I don't know if I want to say a good idea, but like that they're onto something, that, like, hey, start doing it. And then how do they even start doing it? Because sometimes the start is what stops people. So how do you even get
Right.
started with that
Yeah.
idea?
So as a book coach, what I try to do when someone approaches me and says, I think I have an idea for a book, the first thing I ask them is, do you think that it's something that's going to be of interest to someone else? Because just because you have an idea in your book of a book and you think it's great, you have to be able to sell books. And as I said in the beginning, as a person of faith, my primary goal is not to get rich and make money. My primary goal is to help other people offer a good or a service that is going to be helpful to others. So
Mhm.
as you think about, yes, I want to write a book, do you think it's going to be of interest to others? And talk about it with people, again, people that you trust, people that you're close to. I have this idea for a book on etiquette, on church etiquette. Now, when I started looking at that, writing that book, there weren't that many books on church etiquette out there. There's a
Mm,
lot of them out there now, but at that time, there were not. So think about whether it's going to be something that someone else is going to be interested in. Also, as I said before, think about your knowledge and expertise in the area. If it's something that you're going to have to do a whole lot of research on, maybe that's not the book for you. If you're thinking about writing a memoir, that seems to be a big thing now. Everybody wants to write their memoir. Again, how is it going to be of interest to someone else?
yeah.
If you want to write a memoir about yourself, what area are you going to look at? Maybe you were raised as maybe you were adopted growing up.
Mm,
And because you were adopted, there are a lot of things that you could share with others who are adopted that may help them on their journey.
yeah.
Or maybe you want to write a cookbook, but there's a million cookbooks out there. What's different about yours?
Yeah.
Maybe it's Southern, but maybe it's a different slant on Southern cooking,
Yeah.
or maybe they're recipes that you haven't seen anybody else try, but they're good. And so you want to share them. So you have to think about what it is you want to write. And if it's going to be something that's going to be of service or interest to someone else.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, I encourage them to kind of put like a blueprint, we like to call it, or an outline together. What's it going to be about? Is it going to have chapters? What are the chapters going to be? And that's where the book coaching comes into play, because now that you have the idea, I can help you to formulate it into a book that would be of interest.
Yes. That's really interesting. So there was something that I wanted to ask you and it like just flew out of my mind, but it will come back hopefully.
Okay.
But it is really interesting what you're sharing. So like for the memoir, it's not necessarily your whole life story as a child who's an adopted, for example, but you're focusing in on like a couple aspects.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would really
Doesn't mean
support
that you can
someone.
only write one book. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was done. I was just adding that would really support someone. Yeah.
Right. And it can be a series of books. Maybe you want to write about your growing up, or maybe you want to write about your adult life and what's going on now, or maybe you want to write about your teen. So it can be more than one book, but just make sure that whatever it is that you're writing about, that you're focusing on that particular aspect.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that could be really interesting. Just like if you were adopted, but now you're a mom, how is that experience of knowing your child? Yeah, it's like really kind of, but that's where the coaching comes in and how to like weed out, like, here's the idea, but how do I narrow that idea down into something it has to be marketable at the end of the day. We do want to make money. No one wants to spend hours and hours and hours. There's nothing wrong with making money. Obviously, we're not necessarily all motivated to make millions or billions of dollars, but we want to have income. So,
exactly. And if you're focusing on your story and it's a story that people are interested in, then the money will come. It will, because people will find interest in it and it'll be marketable, and listen, the books that I wrote in 2018, they're still selling. So, but it's a matter of just finding where the focal point of your book is and then working on it from there.
Yeah. So how do you, I mean, you are no longer working a full-time job, but you are still with a part-time job. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're a grandma. You take fabulous vacations. That might be what it is. I was going to ask how you incorporate self-care into your routines, even now.
It's a balance. It has to be a focused balance, because I'm one of those people, I just have to stay busy. And I mean, I've reached a landmark birthday this year. I mean, a landmark. I turned 70.
Oh,
and
congratulations. Yes.
I'm like, okay, you have to be able, and I love everything that I do, but I have to be able to find time for myself. Yeah. So I try to find something fun to do every day, even if it's just going out on my patio with a book and reading for an hour, just to relax. In the summer, I like to go to the beach. I try to make sure I take at least one vacation. Last year, we really weren't able to take a vacation, so we took a staycation. We went to Fire Island for a day, my husband and I. We drove upstate, for a couple of days. We did little things, but you have to remember that no matter how busy you are, you have to take time out for yourself, and you have to take time out for those things that you enjoy doing. Because if you don't, you'll get so wrapped up in everything, and then you'll forget, the time will fly. You start to have health problems, all kinds of things start to go on. So, but it is a concerted effort. And I have my Google Calendar is like my second Bible. And I try to have, like, on Wednesdays, I spend part of the day with my grandchildren. I have to go out there, get them ready for school, or the babysitter, take them. Then I have the middle of the day to myself, then I pick them up. And usually we always do something that's fun. When it's warm, we go to the park. If we can't go to the park, we'll come back, or we'll watch a movie, or we'll play a game. I'm always looking to do something fun with them on that day. So again, in order to make self-care work, you have to focus on it, just like you focus on anything else, because the time will pass. It's kind of like when you're writing a book. And if you don't set aside the time to write on a weekly basis or a daily basis even, it won't get done.
No.
If you don't take the time for self-care, ladies, go get your nails done, or go get a massage, or, go to a movie. I mean, find something, go out to lunch by yourself if you don't have anybody to go with you. You have to do those things that are fun, because life passes by so quickly. And if you don't, before you know it, you'll be in an age where you can't do those things. And then it'll be, oh, I wish I had taken the time. And you don't want to do that.
No.
So important.
Yes. So basically, schedule it like you would schedule anything else. Schedule the fun.
That's correct.
And make it
That's
fun.
correct.
Yeah.
Schedule the fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a lot. If you don't have, a lot of finances, it can be very simple. I like to walk. So for me, taking my walk every day, that to me is fun. That is relaxing. I put on my music playlist, and I play the songs I enjoy, and I walk. That for me is enjoyable and relaxing and fun.
Yeah.
So it's those kinds of things.
Yes. I love it. Have you always been like that? I'm curious. Like, is that something you've learned as you've gone towards your newest milestone, or is that something that you've always done? I'm just curious, because I think there's a lot of wisdom to be learned from people who have.
And I think I started it after I had my children, because that's when life really got busy. My husband and I we were both working jobs, and we had the kids, and, then the etiquette things started, and I was doing that. And so we used to have this thing where we would take at least one night a month, and the children's godmother, one of them, would watch the kids overnight. We'd go out to dinner. Sometimes we go to the city, do a movie, and or do a show and dinner. So yeah, I've been doing that for a very long time. I really have. And it helped not just my own self-care, but our marriage self-care is also very important.
I was just going to say that actually sounds more like marriage self-care than just personal self-care, but that's super important. And it's a testimony that it works, because a lot of people, once the children are grown, they're like, who are you? I don't know who you are. Peace out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've been married now for 45 years. So I think some of it worked.
Yeah, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you feel has been the biggest factor in your success so far as a businesswoman?
I think number one is I'm doing what I'm passionate about. And I think that if you are going to go into business and be successful, it has to be something that you're passionate about, because there's going to be a lot of times that things are not going to go right. You're going to think that you're going to meet a certain goal by a certain time frame, and it doesn't happen. Or you think you're going to meet a certain income level by a certain time, and it doesn't happen. And if you're not passionate about what you do, you can get very discouraged very quickly. I'm going to say I haven't made a ton of money, but I have made money. It's been enjoyable. I've loved what I do. I've helped people. And that, to me, a young man said to me yesterday, almost brought me to tears. I had to run to my car. He was going to college, he was leaving for college, and we were at church, and I saw him, and I had seen him the day before, but I wanted to give him one last hug before I left. And I jumped out of my car and I went over and I gave him a hug and I said, you know, I love you, do well, whatever. And he said to me, I will remember the things that you taught me. Now, he was in some of my etiquette classes, you know, also just other words of wisdom here and there. And to hear that to me is success.
Yeah.
That to me is success, because I know that the things that I have shared with other people have helped them and been important to them, and they were able to use it. So you have to be passionate about what you do. You have to be tenacious. You can't give up.
No.
You have to always be learning something new about your business. You know, you can't get to a point where you say, okay, I've got it now. No, you don't have it. There's always something new that you can learn.
Yeah.
And find a mentor. Find a mentor. Someone who is, and they don't necessarily have to be in the business you're in. And sometimes you may have more than one mentor.
Right.
You may have a life mentor, and then you may have a business mentor. But you need someone who is wiser than you, more experienced than you, and who you trust to tell you when you're doing things good and when you're not.
Yeah.
And very important, be willing to take constructive criticism. Even if it comes from a source that you're not necessarily close to or like or whatever, there can be people in your lives who you really don't like who can still give you constructive criticism, because they're really looking at you critically.
Yeah.
And so be willing to at least listen to it and take it in and think about it. You may discard it later on and say, okay, that's not me, that wasn't right. But don't just fluff it off immediately.
Yeah.
Take it to heart, think about it, meditate on it, and then see if it's really something that you can benefit from.
Yeah. I feel like that just kind of went full circle back to the beginning, because you're talking about openness to the criticism, but then also even openness to suggestions. Like you were open to the suggestion of writing a book, even though you'd never thought about it. So it's kind of almost like that openness, just openness to ideas, openness, feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've learned that one of the most important things in life is to be open and willing to learn and grow and be humble, you know, and just listen to, I listen to a lot of different things. Sometimes I watch movies and I can grab a quote from a movie that will just resonate with me. And I'm like, oh, that's really good. So always be open to learning. Yeah.
What do you feel, and this may be something that we've already touched on, but in a different way, but what do you feel the secret sauce is that many entrepreneurs miss?
Mm. I think a big one is patience.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Being patient, because businesses do not grow overnight. And, and I talked before about the passion and the tenacity, but patience is important.
Mhm.
It really is. And I think a lot of, especially the younger generation, because it's, I want it now. I want to do it now. I want to be successful now. I'm going to retire by the time I'm 40 and blah, 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 blah. And those are all, not to say those are not all great goals.
Yeah.
However, there has to be some things just take a little time
Yeah.
and experience.
Yeah.
As a business person, your experience now is not going to be the same as it is 5 years from now. And
True.
so as you gain that experience, you gain knowledge, and that helps you to grow as well and become more successful.
Yeah.
But patience is big.
Yeah.
It is. And just try to learn as much as you can about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like for that tenacity, you have to have patience in order to keep that tenacity or that commitment or that grit.
You do.
There has to be like a patience
It's
that's also maintained to go through the process.
Yes, it's definitely true, because you have to remember that you're learning. I mean, even people who go to college, get a degree, come out and say, okay, I want to start a business. All right, that's wonderful.
Right.
You have gone to college, you've attained knowledge, but where's your experience?
Mm,
So, that sometimes you'll have to start a job, work a job for a couple of years, hopefully in the field that you want to start a business in, so that you can gain that knowledge and experience that you need to then go out on your own.
hmm
So, I've heard so many young people, get out of college and say, I'm going to start a business. Well, what's your business going to be about? And where's the knowledge and the experience that you have to be able to start this business?
Right.
Even if it's something that you went to college for, you learn the technical part, but there's also the knowledge part, the experience, the hands-on part. You can't really get that from college
No.
unless you've done an internship. And even with that, it takes a little more after that.
Right.
So,
It's like with teaching, you go to school and you get out and you have no idea about classroom management. You have to figure that out on your own. Things you have to just connecting with people, all of that. It's kind of like
yes,
a different type of skill that you have to learn in the heat of the moment.
yeah, I agree. And I think now with, our social skills lacking so much, because with COVID, everything has changed. Instead of people working in an office, they work remotely. Instead of having social events in person, you have social events on Zoom.
Mhm.
Instead of, even with college, a lot of the college students now are online instead of in person. And so learning has become more, the socialization part of learning has become more difficult.
Yeah.
Uh, you used to have these networking events, and I guess they still have some, but not to the extent that they used to.
Yeah. Or they've been online. I've done online networking. It's fine, but it's not the same. Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and I realize that the world has to change. It has to evolve. I mean, it changed from the time I was in college until the time I became an adult, and now it's changed again.
Yeah.
And we have to be ready for the change. But I just think there are certain elements that need to remain, and the hands-on, person-to-person engagement,
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's being lost, and I think it's going to cause our society to lose something in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. So let's talk
yeah.
about the next level for you, though. What's the next level of success look like for you?
Well, I'm really hoping that this book will be a bestseller. That's my next goal.
Okay. Yes.
I'm hoping the book launches on September 12th.
Okay.
I'm actually doing a free workshop, a Zoom workshop on September 5th, and it's called The Heartset of an Entrepreneur. And I came up with it. I was trying to come up with the right name because it's like a prelude to the book, but I wanted to talk about a little bit different aspect. And we talk about mindset. We talk about what our mindset has to be as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about your heart?
Heart.
What's the condition of your heart as a business person? Are you just, as my banner says, is there integrity involved? Is there honesty involved? Are you just all about making money? Are you there to help people and provide a service? Or are you just about the dollar?
Mm-hmm.
And so we go into a little of that. It's only for an hour, just a little bit to get people started to think. And so that is, you can register for that on Eventbrite. I finally got that right. So you can
Good.
register for it on that. And as I said, it's 1 hour on September 5th. And then the following Tuesday, which is September 12th, is when the book launches. And it will launch as an ebook first.
Okay.
And then probably 3 months later is when the printed book would come out.
Okay.
And my it will be a short Facebook Live event with myself and my publisher, who is Annie Jean Publishing.
Yes.
It's going to be the first time I'm working with her, and we're both very excited about it. So yeah.
Yes. One of our other listed entrepreneurs.
Yes,
Yeah, she's
absolutely.
listed in the Black
Yes.
Business Connector too. Yeah.
Yes. And we
I
all
love it.
met at the same event at the African American Museum. We all met
Yes,
at that
we
same
all
event.
met there.
Yes, we did. And Tracy and I we just kind of clicked, kind of like you and I did.
Yeah.
And we've done a couple of events together. And when I was looking for a publisher for this book, because the last 3 books have been self-published, but I
Okay.
wanted to get a traditional publisher.
Mm,
And Tracy came to mind because she's an established publishing company with her JoJo Bean books.
yes.
And so I approached her, and it's funny because she said to me, I've been thinking about maybe branching out to other genres of book, publishing
Mhm.
other genres of books. And so we started talking, and we kept talking. And first she did the editing for me. I mean, I do edit, but it's really not a smart thing to edit your own book. So I
Right. Different.
her to do that. Yeah. And then we talked, and we decided that it was a good collaboration for the two of us. So yeah, so I'm really excited. I really think that this book is a different path, a different journey for entrepreneurs, and it gives them a different perspective into how to be successful in their business. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not a millionaire, but I believe that I have touched a lot of lives. I have sold quite a few books. I've done etiquette workshops all over the country, really. But I've had a little bit different mindset about my business, and that's what I want to share in this devotional. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. So if someone goes to Eventbrite, they just type in the heart set of an entrepreneur and it will pop right
Yeah.
up.
Yes. yes. Or
Or
there's
is
two
there
other
any way?
ways. They can go to my website, which is etiquetteandwritingconsultancy.com. And if they go to my website, there's a link in there, and that will take them right to it, so that, they don't have to kind of fish around or whatever. And they can also email me at etiquetteexperts.com. And if they email me, then I can also send them the link.
Wait, there should be something be in front of that. Like, is it Linda at Etiquette?
No, it's etiquette experts. Oh, email etiquetteexperts@gmail.com.
Oh, at gmail.com. Okay. Or maybe you said
Yes, that's
gmail.com and
email.
I missed it. That's possible.
No, I think I left out the Gmail part.
Okay,
So
because
thank you.
because I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I have a .com email, but
Yeah.
at the front it's like light at.
It's right, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a Gmail.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Cool. I want people to get in touch with you.
Definitely.
You gotta get the info
Definitely.
right. So yes. All
Yeah.
right. So they can register for that. Are you doing pre-sales for your book, or are they on now, the pre-sales?
I'm not doing pre-sales only because I don't know. I had a whole lot of things going on at one time, and I was going to do the pre-sales, and it just didn't happen. So they will be available at the book launch on September 12th, which is actually the National Day of Encouragement. So I kind of
Hey.
linked the launch of the book with that day. Yeah, I was looking for a day that would kind of correspond with what I was trying to do. And I feel like this book is, a way to encourage people to try success on their knees.
Yeah. Why not? Because
Yeah, exactly.
if it hasn't been happening, or at least good
They
success
have nothing
has
to
been
lose.
happening,
That's right. They've got
then
nothing to lose by
you
trying a different way.
yeah. Yeah. But it is true, like out of the issues of the heart, the mouth speaks. So our heart and everything, the heart set is important too, of course, because that does affect our mindset and everything else.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And your customers can tell if you're genuine or not. I've gone into a store to buy things, and the salesmen are just, they're all about, oh, well, this is the price. And they're not really thinking about my needs and what I'm looking for. They're just trying to close the deal. And those kind of people turn me off completely.
Right.
So, people can tell if you're genuine, if you're really trying to help them, or if it's just a job and you're just trying to make money. So that's where the heart set comes in.
Yes. I love it. So people can get in touch with you at etiquetteandwritingconsultancy.com, etiquette
Right.
experts at gmail.com. Any other places? You have your Instagram, right?
I do have Instagram. I also am on Facebook. I just put up my author page for the new book over the weekend, but if you go to Linda J. Williams on Facebook, you can find me there, and then you'll see the link to the author website, the author Facebook author page as well.
Okay, cool. Fun. Yay. So before we wrap up, thank you again for your time, your wisdom, your insight,
My pleasure.
which I'm sure are going to encourage people who either are just beginning the writing process or thinking about the writing process, or maybe they're even nearing the end of the writing process, but now you've given them some new things to think about.
Definitely. Yes. And the other thing is too, with my coaching, when they sign up with me, there's the online writing course, which kind of takes them through the initial process of writing. And then we start coaching sessions. So when they purchase the package, it's the online course. Plus, there's a free writing course in there about overcoming your writing fears.
Okay.
And so once they finish the free course, and there's the online course, and then we actually have coaching sessions on Zoom, and that's included in their package. And I take them all the way from the concept of their book all the way to publishing it.
Cool.
So yeah.
Door to door.
Door to door, that's right. Beginning to end.
Yes, yes. Any last thoughts or gems or anything you wanted to share before we wrap up?
No, I think it's just, I just want to say, follow your passion, follow your dreams, don't give up. Whatever it is that you want to do, if you put things in place and just start. Find someone who you can connect with, who will help you, motivate you, encourage you to do what it is that you feel your passion or your purpose is. And that's kind of, how I've tried to live my life. And one of the things I say to seniors is, just because you're getting older doesn't mean that you still can't follow your dreams.
Right.
And I like to say, don't grow into getting older, just grow.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Don't grow into getting older, just grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we tend to think that when we get to be a certain age, it's too late to do things, or we're too old to do things, but I'm a living witness. You can do anything that you put your mind to. Just as you said, you have to have the self-care. You have to know when to rest and when to go. So, but as long as you're still breathing, there's still something out there that you should be doing.
Yes.
You'll do it.
If you're here, you're meant to be here for something. So it's not for just existing and watching paint peel. That's for sure.
Exactly. Or watching TV for that matter.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Not the kind of programming
No.
we need for our hearts or minds. So yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited for your next
Thank you,
book.
Beth. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, I'm going to be chatting with you shortly, I'm sure offline as well. So yes,
Okay.
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.